Happy Friday, everyone. I am Genesee from Good Shepherd Entertainment, and I'm here with technical art director Edmundo Bordeo, who I've seen before, and we are really looking forward to talking to again. So welcome, Edmundo. How's your day going?
Hi, happy Friday. Yeah, all good.
Awesome. Okay, so before we get to the really good stuff, I want to talk about something else really good that's happening in Discord right now. We asked you guys to do a contest this week. The contest is how would everyday objects look if they're designed by you, like a fridge or a TV or computer for Trebnology. So these are your ideas of what Trebum technology would look like. So you want to show our first one there, Edmundo?
Let's see, there's the contest. And this first one is from Labus. And I think it is a sort of a Trebum TV,
Mm-hmm.
but it's an organic made TV. And what's interesting to me is like this the little language it has. It doesn't seem like just squiggles, it seems like a constructed language, like a legit language there on their
Yeah, yeah.
newscast. And yeah, of course, the news is about the cylinder.
Yes. I love the
Yes.
little like smokestack on the top, like the houses have for the Trebum.
Ah, yeah, so it must be powered by some sort of like fiery thing.
Neat. Okay, so our second winner is POP Guy. I want to show that. Yeah.
Yeah, the first one is like a wheelbarrow. The second device is a radio phone, but yeah, it transmits through a cable, maybe through vibrations. And the third one is a fishing stick, and that yeah, you kind of set up on this thing, and it's a static fishing stick, but it's also on a boat. And actually, in the game, there is a little boat that you will see further ahead. So yeah, that's a good device to have there.
Neat. Okay, good
And
job.
the
Our,
third one, this one is by Sarmis, and yeah, there's a lot of weird objects here. So let's describe a couple of them. I have the description here, the written description, and they have like names that also fit in very well with the game. The fourth one is a perech platos. These seed-like objects can turn into plates and cups when you hit them. As you can see, the ones with the big patterns are plates, and the one with tiny strips are cups. Yeah, that's the cup-looking one. And let's see, the eighth one is the tabla masa. This table can be ripped apart, and its eye protects the food when the trebum are going to picnics. Its yellow light doesn't affect the trebum, but it protects them from servants or other creatures.
you go, the perfect picnic. We have a table and a tray that are both very resilient to bad things.
Yeah, and I like that these are anthropomorphic. Well, anthropomorphic is objects that look like a human, so these would not be anthropomorphic, they would be trebumorphic.
Yes.
Uh, so well, for today's stream, I'm going to talk a bit about the creature kind of stats and creature behaviors. But kind of to show off all this, I made a map that's kind of an arena where I can spawn different enemies, and we can kind of talk about the behaviors and how they fight each other and stuff like that. So yeah, we can jump right into it.
Okay, I'm going to throw you really awkward questions while you're trying to explain things, just to see if you can juggle multiple things at once.
Okay, great. Yeah, and just warning, some things that are set up here, they're not exactly as you find them in the game, because sometimes if I want to test something like, say, an enemy fighting another, but naturally in the game they wouldn't fight each other because they would run away from each other. So yeah, there are things you're going to see here that are not exactly as you would see them in the game, but they're just for a demonstration. And also, you might see a lot of windows pop up showing kind of stuff that you shouldn't see, but it doesn't matter. We'll ignore those.
I love this sign. This is such good prep, Edmundo.
So yeah, here I have just a kind of a reminder of the keys I need to use to spawn the different creatures. And yeah, it actually showed here that they're not images, but I actually used the actual models. Oh, there popped one of the windows I was telling you about. It's gonna go away in a couple of seconds. 3, 2, 1, and there we are. So for these little kind of images, I just use the model and it's flattened against the box. So you can see that it has all the detail of the actual creature. And this one I was looking at it before very closely, and I really like that the artist added a bunch of detail that's very small. Like I can zoom in and see pores there.
Whoa.
Yeah, and the kind of character materials can have 3 different detail textures, so it's not that the textures are huge, but for kind of micro details, you can have veins and pores and stuff like that. Okay, so back to the kind of test map. Let's see. I also set this up so that you cannot leave the arena once you entered. So let's, for example, spawn some little blick balls. And blick balls are normally neutral, and in this case, yeah, they're behaving exactly as they would in the game. But once you grab one of the blick balls, and they will kind of try to protect their friend, and they're jumping against me. And yeah, I set their kind of how much hit points they take away from you. A little bit higher in this demo level just because a Glick Ball normally, when they jump towards you and try to attack you, they do 1 hit point of damage. That's the smallest amount of damage something can do. And so a Trebon maybe after 100 hits would actually lose his base level of health. And for this map though, I have changed the kind of list of what enemies are enemies of which other enemies, so that we can kind of set up artificial fights. So for example, let me look at the board again to see what enemies we have. Let's spawn a few more Glick balls and a little Tumble Droplet. There we go. So normally the Tumble Droplet, they kind of get annoyed when other enemies are nearby, and they do this kind of little aggression kind of stance. And another thing that enemies do is that, let's just look at a little bit and see how these kind of react to each other.
Do not get your hopes up, guys. You are never going to be fighting these. This is made just for you, special for this live stream. You will not do this in game. I can see your expectations now. Where's my fighting arena? No.
Yeah, I think for this stream, I made the Glick Balls a little bit more kind of stronger than they are normally in the game, and I overdid it. Because normally, yeah, these guys wouldn't be running away from a Glick Ball. Because I'll explain why is the Tongal Droplet running away from Glick Balls, even though he's a kind of a bigger creature and I have them set up to be enemies. So one of the things enemies do is that if you take out too much health from them in a short period of time, they decide this situation is too dangerous and they will run away for an amount of seconds. So since I made the Glick Balls stronger in this demo, probably they are running towards the Tongal Droplet and hitting them. And maybe they are hitting them with force that's enough to make the Tongal Droplet feel, oh no, this is too much heat, I need to run away for X amount of seconds, and then they go back to their behavior. But, well,
so once they kill all of them, they will then not have that to worry about and they'll go for each other?
yeah, here they actually, they killed everything. And they just reverted back to their normal kind of wandering behavior. And I don't have it set up so that creatures of the same species are enemies of each other. But I do have it set up that every species is an enemy of every other species. And so yeah, if I spawn another one of these, they're cool, no problem. And let's test, I don't know, spawning something else. Here I can talk a little bit about damage types. So, for example, I can spawn here one of the witnesses. This is one of the servants of the cylinder. And these are actually very single-mindedly trying to hunt Trebon. So, since in the real game they're not really meant to attack other creatures, this attack, we never made it hurt other creatures. So right now I have set the Watcher to be, the Witness, sorry, to be an enemy of those creatures, but he cannot actually hurt them. But let's see, what I want to do now is, let's spawn one or two more. And these guys on the ground, they don't have any attack that can reach them, but these enemies, if you get them, if you shoot water at them, it kind of short-circuit them and they fall into the ground. I was hoping maybe they would notice and go and attack.
Take advantage, I see.
Yeah, and try to help the Tongal droplets attack those guys.
I'm going to ask you questions while I'm thinking. So SMJ James wants to know, what's your favorite piece of Trebum technology that you designed?
My favorite piece of technology that I designed, I don't remember. I'll mention one that I didn't design, but that is my favorite anyways. There's a little kind of a platform boat thingy that it's my favorite because it's actually functional in the game, that you can it has kind of water wheel part attached to it. So if you shoot water at the water wheel, the little boat will move through a rail. And that one, I think, Walter and Juan, Walter made it and Juan implemented it. And so, yeah, it's always fun when you can actually play with kind of the game mechanics and use the thing in game.
Very neat.
Let's see, I have a little level here set up where I can spawn a bunch of glick balls so that I don't have to spawn each one like with a key one by one. I'm going to spawn 50 of them just to show a little bit of glick ball behavior. So let's go full screen. And yeah, normally in the game you wouldn't find 50 of them, and actually the performance is not ideal. But there are some smart things in performance that programmers have done that, say for example, if I'm very far from the main group, it starts to run much better because you don't need to simulate the enemy kind of intelligence and collisions and everything so well. So yeah, you can see when I moved away, it immediately started to run better. So yeah, these glick balls right now, they're not my enemy, but as I said before, if you capture one, they will start to kind of jump at me and try to attack me. Yeah, I like to imagine that this is a little kind of sports arena and that I need to kind of play a game where I have to get from one side to the other. Kind of like a football game where they're trying to tackle me. So,
here's another question. Did you take inspirations from human cultures for the architecture? We're seeing some arches and statues in the back. Maybe that's the question.
For the architecture, well, we did try to make something very alien, but it's impossible to do something that is not going to be kind of similar or inspired by things that exist. So I'd say that we try to use, rather than rectangles as the main shapes, we try to use triangles and circles more than rectangles. And yeah, it reminds me this door, for example. It reminds me of a movie, Forbidden Planet. It's a really old sci-fi movie where I remember one of the set designers. I don't remember if the script writer or set designer said that, well, if the door is a triangle, and see, our doors are like a vertical rectangle, human doors. But a triangular door kind of suggests that, okay, what kind of creature would use that kind of door? Because it's not designed for a human. Um, but other than just kind of just choosing shapes that are not the shape we use the most to make it feel a little bit more alien, I would say that this definitely looks very Art Deco. That's a style that, uses a lot of geometric shapes. Um, and yeah, even if we were not kind of trying to make it look Art Deco, just the trying to use both geometric shapes and made it look like Art Deco eventually.
Gotcha. They're asking about the yellow. I just guess it's a force field, just keeping them from leaving. Is that what the yellow kind of effect
Yeah.
is around the circle?
Yes, I just added this so that monsters would not leave the arena. And it's a one-way thing where once I enter, I cannot leave. And yeah, if we look at this map kind of in the editor view, I also have it set up so that the creatures only know they can navigate this central area. Like this blue circle we're seeing is the navigation mesh. And the navigation mesh is something that's built in real time in the game. As the environment changes, creatures need to know how the terrain has changed to know where they can move and where they cannot move. So, for example, I have in this level kind of a barrier that I can turn on and off. So here I have this. Oh, I actually typed the wrong key and spawned a creature. Let's see if I
Oh
can get
no!
a barrier on here. So yeah, here we have a barrier. And let's go back to the editor view. And yeah, you can see here that immediately now they know there's a wall here. And if there were a creature that can jump or float, they would know that they can walk over this thing too. So let's remove the barrier. Yeah, the barrier I put in this level was in case I wanted to set up a fight where I put several monsters on one side and several on the other, and then remove the barrier so that kind of I can set up the fight fairly, that it starts at the same time for both games. So let's see another creature. Let's see, maybe we can talk about kind of the immunities different creatures have. Like there's a system where not all creatures are equally vulnerable to different types of damage. So let's see. I'm gonna press play. Continue. And 7 is some. Oh, actually, I forgot to remove these guys. They're not gonna bother me that much. I'm gonna leave them. Let's spawn some Ontifurt. And what else are we going to spawn? Let's spawn a cleanser. And 5 was cleanser? Yes, there we go. So the cleanser, one of the servants of the cylinder, I spawned him because I know that the cleanser is not vulnerable to the kind of smoke attack, the poisonous gas that the flying creatures are causing. The cleanser is actually probably the second creature that was designed in the game. So I know that some of the systems that are kind of implemented for other creatures is different for the cleanser. The cleanser is one of those that is only focused on attacking the Trebum and not. He doesn't have any interest in other creatures. So yeah, it looks like he's trying to kind of step on those click balls, but actually that's just his normal wandering behavior, I think.
They are fun with each other. I've run into them a lot where they kind of seem to go at each other. Is that so?
I wonder if that's kind of the illusion that they're interacting, but they're just wandering and their kind of random wandering interaction seems to be purposeful. So actually,
Okay.
I'm not the expert on the AI of these creatures, so let's spawn. Oh, I tried to spawn on a different one, but okay, never mind. I'm going to spawn a couple more and just see what happens. Yeah, one of the main kind of damage types in the game is physical damage. So there are two kinds of physical damage. Say, for example, ooh, there probably that creature was killed by physical damage. And there's the actual physical damage from if something is moving fast and just kind of its collider hits you. That's one type of physical damage. But we also I think, have damage that's kind of an attack. Say a creature that bites or does something like that, where we have a specific kind of damage set up for that attack, and it's not just dependent on the kind of speed and force with which the thing is moving. So there, I think one of them just killed the other, not because he was trying to attack him, but again, kind of the physical damage force of moving against the other creature might have killed him. Let's throw water on that guy so that he's not safe up there. And yes, there we go. And let's see, what other kind of setup can we make? If there are requests, kind of a setup of enemies, if you want to see, I'll try to see if it's possible.
This is not one of the ones on your list, but they're asking questions about the frozen scala, asking if it really explodes outside of cold environments, or does it have other forms besides the frozen form, like sometimes others do in different biomes?
No, this one, yeah, it's not on my list because I thought it was second biome and kind of spoilery, but people know about it. Okay. Um, yes, that creature at really cold temperatures is frozen. A little bit warmer is when kind of blood reaches its body and it can move, and the higher the temperature, it kind of moves faster.
They haven't done the puzzle yet, so they don't know about some things. They just know it
Uh-huh.
exists in pictures.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So, yeah, other than that information, I'll stop there. But yes, temperature can kill the creature. And actually, I'm gonna go to a map where we can see kind of the stats of a creature. And yeah, I can go a little bit more into detail as to how the creature health works and kind of creature behavior, how it's set up. So here we have a Tripobosh, and I'm just going to open kind of its details panel.
You guys
And
saw that in the newsletter. That was one of the creatures covered, talking about its hunting behaviors and its visual issues.
yes, this creature is blind. It finds you by smell, and let's see, what I wanted to show here is, well, the creature health. This creature, for example, has 160 of health. Say a base Trebum, for reference, would have 100 hit points or health points. And yeah, here's a lot of kind of numbers about things. For example, just like the Trebum have kind of a regeneration stat, enemies also have that stat. So for example, this creature, after 10 seconds of not receiving damage, will slowly start to regenerate health. And here in this case, it regenerates 1 hit point every 1 second. This most of the time will not come into play when you're kind of escaping from a creature, or if you see two creatures fighting, there really won't be any chance for them to regenerate. But this system was added, I think, in part because sometimes things happen far away when you're not seeing them. And if a creature, I don't know, walked into something dangerous and left and is weakened, it was kind of weird for the player to reach a creature and that creature dies very quickly and you wouldn't know why. So it's good that if a creature has kind of been on its own for a while, that when you meet that creature, it probably regenerated any damage that happened to it off screen. Here you can see also that creatures have damage resistance. So let's see, this one has resistance to water. Water doesn't hurt him. Here's, well, we have a damage type called loud noise that is not really meant to cause damage to creatures, but we use it sometimes so that creatures kind of get scared and run away. So this loud noise damage type might kind of, it has a radius and we make the loud noise hit the creature, quote marks, and the creature will escape from the source of the loud noise. And the loud noise doesn't need to be actually audible for us. It's just something that we use in the code if we want to kind of affect creature behavior. So for example, a tower collapses, something very huge and scary happens, we add an invisible loud noise damage type to that so that the creatures can escape. Here we see this creature is immune to thorns. Thorns would be, say, if there's a plant with spikes, this creature is not going to die just from walking next to that plant. We also have this damage type called only push, which is sometimes we want something to push another creature or push a Trebum and kind of knock you very far away, but not necessarily take a lot of health. So something that only pushes, that's what this damage type is for. So these immunities, like this creature has very kind of typical immunities. Other creatures are immune to poisonous gas, but this is kind of the base immunity you could have.
They ask if
Yeah.
active invincibility enabled just means the Zugar.
Active invincibility frames. In this menu, what does that mean? The Zushgarg is actually, yes, immune to many things, but I don't know if it's using this flag. What this means is that some of these things are only used for Trebum, and active invincibility frames is only used for Trebum. It makes it so that after you receive damage from something, there's just a very few frames where you cannot receive damage again. So that maybe if you're hit by something, it doesn't kind of hit you twice, or that it feels a little bit more fair that if a creature, I don't know, runs towards you and you might, without this, you might have received kind of, say, the damage from the creature running into you at the same time than something else. So this kind of makes sure that you receive one damage at a time. But enemies, they don't have this kind of invulnerability at all. Yeah, here you can see this one can die by temperature. Of course, probably if he needs a lot more temperature to die, like this creature can survive in cold and warm environments. And minimum health can't die. This means Some things can lower your health, but not necessarily kill you. Say, for example, you could have a trebum, could be in a very warm environment, and the heat is going to reduce your health, but the heat is always going to leave you in a weakened state. It's never going to fully kill you. So this number is how weakened it will leave you, but kind of stop at that level. And say if this number were very, very small, like instead of 0.3, 0.1, the heat could take this creature to 1/10 of his health, and it wouldn't kind of reduce any more health. This creature, oh, I didn't expect this. He cannot die in water, because some creatures, if they walk into water, they drown and they die. And this one cannot, so he can hold his breath very well. And here is kind of the stats for another thing I mentioned before, the escape damage section. So this creature, for example, when he's damaged over 60 hit points in under 3 seconds, is going to escape for 6 seconds. So yeah, that makes sense that 60 hit points is about half his health. So if in less than, how many seconds? If in less than 3 seconds he lost half his health, he wants to run away from that fight.
Interesting. Okay, I'm going to throw some more questions at you that are totally unrelated. What was the first drawn creature from the Eternal Cylinder universe?
The first drawn creature would have to be one of Carlos's creatures, because this project was actually started by Carlos on his own, on his free time. And the first things that existed were the Trebum, the Omnogrom, and a kind of a walking creature, a tall walking creature. So I'd say that the Trebum and the Omnogrom were the first drawn creatures. And yeah, I don't remember the actual drawing, but it's possible that Carlos has it somewhere. Because I remember the drawing of a drawing of the Omnogram at least.
Neat. We'll have to ask. Okay, Saramus Pancho asks, who would be the winner in a battle with all the creatures in the game? If you threw them all in the arena, who would win?
Let's see. I don't want to add any spoilers because there are creatures not on that I can kind of describe. And say the mathematician is, of course, very. Let's see. From these creatures, definitely it's the Tongle Grop. The Zushkar, the thing is, cannot really hurt many other creatures, but other creatures cannot do anything to the Zushkar. He's above them, and there's no way he can be hurt. So just let's say for now the Tongle Grop on this kind of first set of creatures is the strongest by far. Say the Tongle Grop has actually it's going to be difficult using these creatures you see on the screen to be able to kill the Tongle Grop. I know what setup of creatures could do it, but it's hard.
Sounds like a challenge.
Let's see. Let's spawn another set of creatures. Yeah, actually, let's put a Tongle Grop and see what we can do with him. Tongle Grop is number 2. Actually, I'm going to give myself invulnerability so that he doesn't kill me very easily. And there we go. Yeah, since the music is dynamic, we get the scary Tongle Grop music too. And let's spawn, say, a few of these. I tried earlier to get a ridiculous amount of click balls to fight the Tongle Grop, but I think not even 1,000 of them could kill it. Oh, I was trying to spawn another thing.
Oh no! That's gonna be interesting now.
Let's add a couple of cleansers.
There's no family loyalty here. I can see it.
Oh, that's... They couldn't do anything. Yes, I'm surprised at how quickly the cleansers were killed because, like, seeing here the kind of health points they have, a cleanser should have, let's see, where do I have it? 1,000 hit points, and that's even more than a melter. So I'm guessing there's something weird about the physics of the kind of crushing ball that must do a lot of damage to the cleanser.
Is that their most powerful attack, the roll and hit, or is it the vomit?
I think the rolling hit is potentially more damaging. In the game, I think what usually happens is that it kind of pushes you away. But when it's just kind of two physical creatures interacting, I think probably the behavior is a little bit different. So let's see. Well, there are other creatures who can do anything actually, because these they can swallow small creatures, but they don't have any attack that can hurt other large creatures. So, yeah, this is just kind of there's nothing they can do.
Oh no! They crack in half. Wow.
Oh, how did that happen? Did they kill each other?
Yes, they did.
Okay, so we discovered what kills a Tungle Grop, another Tungle Grop. And yeah, in the game, the Tungle Grop will drop a pretty good mutation item. And let's see. And there are ways very far into the game where you can kill large creatures. But yeah, as we just saw, sometimes getting creatures to kill each other will be an easier way to find an item. And let's see, I'm seeing, is there anything I haven't spawned yet from this list? No, I have spawned one of each at least. And actually, I don't know what happened there. Why is he like that? I don't know. I didn't do that. I didn't set him to be all jittery and falling.
Flag of surrender.
Oh, poor guy. Okay. And let's see. I'm looking at if there's kind of. Well, let's get first a kind of a guess as to what would kill a Tungle Grop, and then I'll try to do a setup where I have enough creatures to kill a Tungle Grop. And so, using our little barrier on the center, I'm going to first spawn a Tungle Grop on one side. Oh, I forgot to give myself invulnerability. There we go. And it is very variable. Like sometimes I have to spawn like 10 creatures to kill him, and sometimes it's like, I don't know, twice as many. But let's see this creature. Like this creature, since the Tripobosh does physical damage, he's kind of good at killing many different types of creatures. While, say, for example, the ones that do poison gas. There are many creatures in the game which are immune to poison gas. So let's add, let's say, 7 of them. Let's see if 7 is enough.
Go team, collaborate.
So what team are we rooting for?
Tripobosh. Always root for the little guy.
yeah, say for example that one on the right, he ran away because he was damaged. Now he got his kind of. Oh, wow! 6 of them. Yeah, I've never
All
seen
right.
just 6 of them kill one of those. So yeah, good for them. And no, I was thought maybe I was going to show how these creatures are blind and that um, well, normally a creature, just if you're in line of sight, they see you. This one needs to kind of, once they track you, it is as if you were leaving a trail of scent. So, say if I moved away, they might not do a beeline to follow me, but they would kind of walk where I was and then track me. I cannot show it now because I have all the creatures set up so that they are not aggressive towards Trebon. So they right now don't really care about me and don't want to do anything to me.
Random pieces of things just laying on the ground.
Oh yeah, creature pieces, yes.
Creature pieces.
Let's see. Another kind of mutation that, since this was kind of a battle arena, I tried to look for a mutation that would allow me to kind of participate in the fight, so to speak. So this mutation.
Spoiler, guys. Hide your eyes if you haven't seen it.
Oh, okay.
It's okay. Just they'll have to hide it.
So this mutation is, you can find it in the ice biome, and it's a mutation that allows you to turn ingredients into little kind of cluster bombs that, or little bombs that do different things. And I actually don't know all the rules as to what bombs exactly each ingredient creates, but you can try eating different ingredients and see what they create. So you can see there on my inventory that actually all that food, and it's being processed and it's being turned into this third item. And well, usually you don't want to have too many of these on your team because, say, he's transforming all my food into these items. But he is useful when you need to kind of defend yourself. Like, this is probably one of the biggest offensive treble mutation you can get in early in the game. So there I throw those objects, and those are actually little kind of cluster bombs. Now it's not like you will be able to kill anything in the game because still you need to produce this resource, but it is kind of, if you feel cornered, you can kind of use this item to defend yourself. So let's see if I actually have enough to kill one of these creatures. So just 2 of those. I'm gonna see. I don't actually know how much health they take away. So yeah, that wasn't enough to kill a large creature like that. But experimenting with different ingredients, you can get kind of a little bit better and kind of things to shoot at enemies. And you also have kind of the gas bombs or the cluster bombs or different tough stuff you can create.
I love how they're just like, this doesn't bother us. We're going to continue sleeping. Carry on.
Yeah, let me shoot water at his eye. Let's see. Oh, yeah, he didn't like that.
That's amazing.
Let's see. Is he so harmless that he's not even trying to eat me? Yes. Yeah, I set up the thing so that they're not interested in eating Trevin at all.
Now they're just balancing on one leg.
Let's spawn a few of these. What I want to see if I can get a creature to kill one of these. So let me get some of these. Yeah, because killing servants of a cylinder is usually very difficult in the game, so having this arena is kind of, oh, finally, I can get something to kill them.
Nice. Well, Winky Ford's trying. Is the rule that flying things can hurt other flying things, or what are the parameters on something like that?
Flying things, let's see, what can hurt a flying thing? Well, there are enemies in the game which have, well, a damage type that we haven't seen is kind of electrical, and that can kill a lot of things. And physical attacks can hurt flying things, only it will be difficult for them to reach. So, yeah, say, for example, if I drop this one to the floor, any creature with physical attacks, say, for example, a triple boss, would be able to kill her. Oh, he spawned in a really weird location.
Oh no.
And I forgot to give myself invulnerability, so there, I died. Now let's see. Let's spawn. Yeah, so by hit points, actually I'm going to spawn 100 Glick balls. This is not actually something that should happen in the game, but, well, Glick balls normally in the game take away 1 hit point with their kind of jump attack. And they don't even do this attack very often, so to kill, say, for example, a Tongle Grop, it would be hitting 100 times. And yeah, I'd say maybe 1 in 10 Glick balls will manage to hurt a Tongle Grop. So I'm calculating that you would need 7, I don't know, way more than 100 to kill a Tongle Grop. But let's see if Glick balls actually manage to kill anything on this list.
Okay.
Let's say one Omnodrom. If they manage to do that. So
Alrighty, guys, ready?
There we have 100 of those, and just one Omnodrom. Are they running away or going towards him? Oh, there they are
And going for him. Yeah. Will he sleep through it, or when they damage him, he'll wake up?
It's curious that. Hey, wake up, buddy.
Is he running away?
Yeah, he's running away from me shooting water at him, but yeah, it's curious. Now he's not interested in the little big balls. It's weird because I just did a test earlier where I had the Omnodroms happily eating away at all of these click balls. And yeah, I recorded it just in case, kind of, well, since I'm doing this weird thing in the editor and it crashes when you're doing weird things, I wanted to have a video just to make sure that you had something to see while I was kind of resetting everything.
This is the best video.
Yeah, so that's how long does it take 5 Omnodroms to eat. I think those are just 50 Glick balls.
Have you ever played the game Hungry Hungry Hippos?
Oh,
Do you know
yeah.
it? That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, we had it when we were kids. Or it's kind of a grotesque Roomba cleaning up the arena. The kind of setup of which creatures are enemies of which others is a list that is kind of there are 2 lists for each enemy. one list of what creatures they will try to kill, and one list of creatures you are afraid of. So let's see, for example, the Tumblegrub, the kind of most dangerous one from this list. In the game, there are actually some creatures he is afraid of. So he would run away from some of the servants of the cylinder, and well, everything runs away from the cylinder too. And if a creature had kind of no enemies and no kind of things they're afraid of, they would kind of be neutral and not run away from anything. But all creatures have a list of kind of enemies and things they're afraid of. And yeah, so I think kind of, unless there's kind of questions or specific things about the creatures, kind of the stats that I wanted to go over on this map, I kind of mentioned them.
Okay, guys, ask your questions about that you've just seen, and I'll ask some of the ones that you already shared in Discord earlier. Okay, one of them was Dali is a great example of strange art. Can you tell us more artists that were an inspiration for the world of the Eternal Cylinder besides Salvador Dali?
Yes, Dali, like surrealism, definitely was a strong source of inspiration. Other things, say the Dark Crystal, so Jim Henson stuff, definitely. You can see a lot of that in the game. Say of kind of traditional art, I'd say there's a Hieronymus Bosch painting, The Garden of Earthly Delights. That's really strange. It has, well, this kind of these three panels about paradise and hell, and it has a lot of kind of surrealist elements, even though surrealism is a lot later in art period than Hieronymus Bosch, who's kind of early Renaissance or late medieval, I don't remember. But it has a bunch of strange creatures, and there are even like some that you could say, oh, those look like kind of the servants of the cylinder because they're half human and half kind of weird armor things. And so that painting, it's full of detail, and you can spend hours just looking at that one. And yeah, I'd say that at home we always had like a lot of art books, and I know my parents had kind of Miro and Picasso kind of for the more kind of abstract stuff. So yeah, a lot of different sources, but the main ones, yeah, I'd say Dali, Dark Crystal, and surrealist stuff like that.
Cool. Okay, pivoting to a different kind of topic. Dragon Master wants to know, will the Servant's Light affect their mutation tree?
The servants.
The witness.
The servant's light and the kind of yellow cones of radiation, those take away the mutations that you earned. There is kind of a way to kind of protect your mutations from being removed by the yellow light, but yes, it's kind of the function of the servants of the cylinder who are hunting you is to take away your mutations. So once you're kind of more ahead in the game, you can kind of protect your mutations and kind of recover things that the servants and the cylinder have taken away from you. But yes, they are trying to take away, like the mutation tree is just a representation of all the mutations you have, and they will take away those mutations that you haven't kind of protected yet.
Uh-huh. Okay, they also are asking about the Turbo Bosch if it could kill a Blickball, and then also why it's so obsessed with Fooshes.
Why it's so obsessed with what?
Fooshes, like those little ghost-looking creatures on the ground.
So I don't remember kind of the enemy list from Triple Bosch. Triple Bosch, if they are kind of enemies of those, yeah, they can kill them very easily, and they can kill big balls. Yeah, we can just see it right now. Because as I was saying, they do have kind of physical attacks. They have at least two different physical attacks, like a kind of one where they jump like a raptor and they cover actually a lot of ground, and one where they kind of just use their beak to attack directly. So yeah, there you see very easily they can kill.
I love when they just start sprinting across. Ocean Dragon's also asking how the Omnigram digest things. It's a strange creature, isn't it?
I'm thinking that, well, there are some animals that they use just kind of their mouth is the same for input and output, so they might digest something and just spit out whatever they didn't eat. Rather than we have a digestive system where you eat through one and a different end throws away the waste. So I think an omnigram is just one whole type of creature.
It makes it 5 times grosser. Thermos Punch, you keep asking about the dog Zugarg. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Can you clarify?
The Zushgarg, I guess it's on the previous kind of live stream I did when I showed kind of concept art for different creatures. The Zushgarg, well, it's normally flying, but you can see those kind of 4 flappy wings it has, that he can kind of bend them down. At least in the concept art, we never did that behavior for the creature. But
Yeah.
the 4 flappy wings, he would bend them and kind of be a quadruped creature walking on the floor. So yes, I imagine that the Zushgarg maybe when they're born, they're not immediately flying, so they kind of walk on these 4 flaps, and then they can take off and fly.
Gaia like pterodactyl. Okay, any last questions? We're gonna wrap up. Take one more, I think. They're also asking what your favorite creature is. Can you pick like out of all of them?
My favorite creature, I think it would be the Tongle Grub. It's one of Carlos's creatures, but I really like the kind of locomotion he has. That you don't see a nature creature with wheels, so this just that he kind of moves over a ball. I really like that idea, and also that the design of the face is so ugly. And so I'd say yes, the Tongle Grub is my favorite creature.
He's wonderful. Like I have so many screenshots of him just peering over something like really menacingly, and all you can see is the top of his head just like glaring at you. It's lovely.
Yes, let's just create one more of them before. Just to see my favorite creature.
Yes. It's very bendy. Good. Okay, guys. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. We'll be back again. Our usual stream schedule is every other Friday, so we'll be sure to let you know in Discord and on social media when the next one's going to be. Do drop in. We'll keep talking after the stream if you have further questions, etc. And don't forget to wishlist the Eternal Cylinder coming out later this year.
Well, happy Friday, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Eduardo.